Hello, welcome to Mediaverse Podcast. I am Kyle, doing a video live in front of the command center. The command center is so beautiful, but I wasn't allowed inside. Zordon said I was too old to be a Power Ranger, and I'm like, but there's adult Rangers. Why should we listen to your rules? He goes, only teenagers with attitude. But I'm 33. Yeah, you're too old. All right. But it Power Rangers comics, they've been so good. I read the first couple of issues, read Shattered Grid. I want to get back into it again. There's been some amazing things from this comic book series. The first, I think, 53, 30 issues was done by Kyle Higgins, who did the Nightwing New 52 run, which does know what he's doing. The goods, the good. I'll get with the goods and the bads first, really quick. The good, you're not bound by Sentai footage. You could develop the character no matter in any way, direction, or anything possible. The bad, I don't see no bad side, except that people will say, "Well, it's a comic book. I don't want to read it. I just want to watch it on TV and be like it's the '90s." Yeah, and that goes to where I'm going to talk about. This version of the Power Ranger takes place in the modern era. It gives you a fresh perspective. Tommy has PTSD after the Green Ranger arc, which is a great idea in my opinion. It gives you like why Tommy just stays away from the Rangers a lot instead of I forget things like my morpher, not my morpher, my communicator. Yeah, that's that's actually due to Sentai footage, believe it or not. And yeah, like it gives you a lot of reasonable explanations. It also gives you one of the most coolest villains you'll ever see. So I'll get to it eventually. With Tommy, with his PTSD, not trusting the Rangers, and all of a suddenly something happens where they get teleported and they meet an evil version of Tommy, which is Lord Draken, who is the combination of the white and green Ranger powers, and he looks amazing. This is what you could do when you're on a comic book. You don't have to worry about this, design budget. You can make them as cool and ominous as possible. And Lord Draken is what would happen if Tommy willingly went to the Rangers after being not willing to the Ranger, but willing to Rita after he got defeated. And it's really interesting. I love it. He has a group of these things called the Century Rangers. That's a great thing. They're like militaristic versions of the Power Rangers. Like the pink Centuries are like snipers. Red has twin swords, double-sided swords like this. Mastodon Centuries are pretty much like guns, like soldiers with assault rifles. I can get into that all day. Yeah, and also the Resistance group. Most of the Power Rangers are dead. I said most, not all. And yeah, it was pretty good. I think that was what's really good about it. So it's like, yeah, I think that was great and everything. So yeah, it was like a great idea. Um anyway though, there's also this event that happened for the 20th anniversary called the Shattered Grid event. Power Rangers did their own thing, which was the Shattered Dimension event, which is similar but not really. It's inspired by the Shattered Grid event, but the Shattered Grid event is so much better. It does like celebrates 25 years of Power Rangers so much better than what they did, and better than what Super Mega Force did. And I love Gokaiger. It felt like such a downslide. It was such a downslide, but it was great. The Shattered Grid event, like it has a lot of things going on. It gets you better to understand Lord Draken. I'm not gonna go full details. I'm just telling you like what they are. They make sense of why the Rangers are able to see each other all at once. It does all these great, and it also has these great character moments that I enjoy. enjoy and everything, and moments that you don't see from characters because of these moments. And the books just kept getting really good, and then and then they decided to do like the things like there's a new batch of Rangers called the Omegas, which is what would happen when Jason, Zach, and Trini went away on a peace conference. They were really in space, being the Omega Rangers, and their in their little adventures, which they when that got so popular, they decided to split it between Mighty Morphin, which would be the regular Power Ranger series, and then Power Rangers, which would be the next run for them. And this has been all leading up to the 100th episode, which is coming up pretty soon. But there's other things to this comic book than just Power Rangers galore. There's also a lot. There's like 3 crossovers. So let's get into them. All right, so we are going to start off with the first one. This is the very first one that they did. So Boom and DC got together and did Power Rangers versus the Justice League, or the Justice League versus the Power Rangers. This one was really interesting because, like, the first half is great. I love the first half of it. Didn't like the second half that much, but it's the first half is just worth it seeing Superman stop the pterodactyl Zord. I will say that. And Batman analyzing everything because he's freaking Batman. But they do prove like they're a part of this multiverse dimension, and they travel to the Power Rangers travel to the DC multiverse. So this would be an okay recommendation. The next one would be Power Rangers Meet the Ninja Turtles. Remember that terrible crossover from like years ago that you all hated, and you were like, "How is this even possible?" Well, I'm gonna give you a couple tips. I'm gonna give you some couple fun facts first before I go into this. Okay. First off, at the time, Saban bought the rights for television adaptation of the Ninja Turtles, which was trying to play off the 3 original movies. Okay? So there's a fun fact for you. Second off, this is a better version. It takes what Justice League does and makes it better. Like, they do crossovers. Like, there's even toys based off of this. This is the first crossover they actually did toys with. Like the story is very simple. Tommy goes to New York. The Turtles and the Rangers exist in the same dimension. Tommy goes to New York City to meet up with his friend that used to be at the orphanage, because we all remember from Zeo that Tommy is an orphan and he was adopted. So that makes sense. So I love that they pull some of that story stuff threads in, and also has some of the most badass looking designs you'll ever see. Boom Studios, and I think I can't remember who does the Turtles comics, so I can't say it off the top of my head without being butchered. But it's a cool comic book, and I love it. So I definitely had to get this book eventually. I've read most of the tidbits of it, and I was like, this is great. I really love this idea. So Turtles, I would definitely give that a definite check out. But I'll give you a Ranger filled review. All right, this is the most recent crossover that's happening. It's Godzilla versus the Power Rangers. This is probably one of the best ones you can probably do without Sentai footage, because you can cross over. So Toho or IDW agreed with Boom Studios to do this great idea. And this is probably one of the best ideas I've ever seen, idea in my life. It's going to be a 4-issue arc, just like all the other ones, but but it does the same idea with the Justice League, but amplifies it. But there is one thing I'm curious. I have not seen this yet, but I hope it happens. I just want to see the Dragon Zord combined with Godzilla, because I think that would be freaking amazing, and it would sell toys like crazy. And I know a couple people would say I would buy that. So this has been a very, very short video, and just so you know, this is still going on at the time I'm recording this. So when the collected book comes out, I am definitely going to give this a buy. So please check these books out. Support your local comic book shop if you can. buy those digital copies if you cannot, because these books are really good. And I'm just giving you the short-lived version, live version. Maybe I'll go into it maybe more, reading it later myself, because I'm thinking about itching rereading the first issues and then getting them on books. So have a wonderful day. Have a great evening, and let the power ever protect you.